developed nation by 2047. So is that happening in tandem, in sync, that China is slowing down and India is picking up pace just at the right time?
Yes, I think, that was the gist of what I said. Another way to look at it is that, in terms of per capita income, we're still below $3,000, about somewhere 2,500 roughly or so. That means that the gap between our per capita income and what other countries have achieved is extremely large. And this is what that says is that even with the existing technologies, as we accumulate more capital over time, we can actually raise the productivity levels, the average worker productivity levels, to significantly higher levels. I mean, you can compare with you can compare with China, where this per capita income is somewhere between $13,000, $14,000. Compare with South Korea, which is $32,000, $33,000. That's a very large gap. And what we know is that this is doable with the existing technologies. And with our kind of gap, it really places us in a great place. In addition, with all the reforms in place, it paves the way. In some ways, these gaps existed, perhaps even larger gaps existed in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even 80s. But then the economic reforms were not in place. The economic activity was so incredibly restricted through all sorts of licensing systems. Investment was subject to licensing, imports were subject to licensing, everything was controlled. So the entrepreneurs really didn't have a free play. Today the entrepreneurs have a free play. Economy is open, so investment is coming in, technology can flow in. So in effect, and everybody has to compete with the best in the world. And that also actually brings the best out of you. So all these factors, I think, add up for us for next 2 to 3 decades, perhaps even longer, to sustain a very rapid growth. I mean, we are currently growing, in real rupees, about 7% or so per year. It's certainly, with a few more reforms in the next 5 years, I think we can realistically push it to somewhere, close to 9%, certainly somewhere between 8 to 9%. And that can be sustained easily for a couple of decades, and then when the growth rate does decline, as it has happened in the case of all the other countries,